Thanks, all. It's great to be here. To correct one point, CFO, so not enough of an engineer to be the CEO yet, but CFO, still a bit of an engineer nowadays. It's great to be here. It says the power is in the building there. Looking at the crew here, it does feel like the power is in the building. What I'm going to talk about is the existing building stock. There's a lot of new innovation. There's a lot of new ideas going around about what we can do with new digital technologies, with analytics, with cloud computing. What we do need to remember, though, is that the building stock in Finland renews by 1.52% per year. So there's a massive existing building stock that we need to take care of as well. Briefly on Leasegreen, we're a Finnish growth company founded 4 years ago. Our focus is making our clients' buildings better. We do that by decreasing, or let's say optimizing energy use, through that improving indoor climate conditions as well. We do that by producing on site, reducing your dependence on externally bought energy or the grid, and producing as much of the energy that you need on site. We do that by developing solutions to storing energy in buildings, storing energy on site, especially heat, but electricity as well. We do that by working increasingly with digital technologies, with cloud computing, and what all of that means is running the buildings better. Running the buildings on the basis of, let's say, the spot price of electricity, let's say the weather forecast, instead of looking in the back mirror. What you can see there is a pretty traditional or typical example of what you can do with an existing building, how you can use an existing building in a smarter fashion. That's a 70s business park in Pitäjänmäki in Helsinki. What we did there is we brought an immense amount of added intelligence in the building. We brought new iron into the building. That means building automation. That means modernizing ventilation. That means bringing in new lighting solutions. What the result was is a 30% reduction in the energy cost of that building, is a 19% return on investment from the building owner's perspective, is an over 7,000 ton reduction in the carbon footprint of that building. Now, that's a typical example. We have thousands or tens of thousands of buildings like that in Finland amongst the existing building stock. The question is, why are we not doing exactly that in every single one of those buildings if what you can get out of it is a 19% return on the money you use? That's a whole lot better than you can get in let's say, investing in real estate or investing in rates nowadays. What you can see here is an example, or let's say a one analysis of how much of what I showed you in the previous slide we're doing. On the left-hand side, you can see a global perspective on how much of the building energy efficiency potential we're using. The figure is around about 20%. We're not using the 80% that generates you a 19% return on investment. Now the question is why? The build environment, from a, let's say, a bit of a broader perspective rather than just buildings, we spend 99% of our time in the build environment. It's 80% of national wealth. It's 70% of tangible investments. And we're missing out on 80% of the opportunity to use energy smarter in that environment. One perspective on the topic is comparing what we're doing in Finland to what people are doing elsewhere in Europe. What you can see there is one, let's remember, one metric, one comparison of how energy efficiency has developed in Finland vis-a-vis a number of other European countries. Now, it's natural that your absolute levels will differ. What this slide is showing is the intensity of space heating. Now, obviously, absolute levels are going to differ. But when you look at what's happened historically, is we haven't really made much progress in Finland compared to every single other European country that is shown on the slide. Now the question is why? What all of that means is that running our buildings has become significantly more expensive. In the last 15 years, the total energy cost from the building owner's perspective has nearly doubled. It grew by 4.1% last year alone. Now, the largest component of our national wealth has become more expensive to operate. The renovation debt stands at around about 10% of the total value of our building stock. So 10% of the total value is renovation debt. What is my message is, at this point, from this point on, it's going to be critical to address this issue, modernize our existing building stock, bring in new 2017 technologies into our existing buildings, and start running them in a smarter fashion. What that's going to do is improve building condition, cut operating cost, cut renovation debt, and enhance the competitiveness of our building stock. And now, as I said, critical here is to raise the technological standards of our existing building stock. What that is going to result in is a much better platform to then bring in new digital solutions, be it storage, be it demand responsiveness, be it weather forecast-based building operations. When the basic technological level of the existing building stock is higher, we have a much broader platform to start implementing all of these new technologies that are developing fast. A couple of key conclusions. Number one, energy efficiency is a largely untapped source of improving competitiveness. 20% used, 80% not used. So why not use that remaining 80%? But the first step in all of this is to get the basics right. Modernize the existing building stock with relatively basic technologies that already exist. Once you do that, you will have a much broader platform to bring in new digital, new cloud computing-based solutions. But you can't really do that if the basic technology level is not there. And in a lot of the finished building stock, it's not there today. Now, the good thing is, this is a significant financial opportunity. And what's especially good here is that the three things that I mentioned at the bottom of the slide go hand in hand. Financial returns, cutting emissions, and improving indoor climate conditions. All of those go hand in hand when you modernize your existing building stock with smart technologies.